93.5 Unity FM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to Unity FM 93.5 here on Friday Drive. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We've got Jamshed with us here today, mashallah. Jamshed's from Handsworth Wood Youth Group. It's a mouthful to say. I know Jamshed quite well, mashallah. And we've got two things I want to share with Jamshed to share with us, inshallah, today. First and foremost, what is Handsworth Wood Youth Group? And when did it start?
Basically, Handsworth Wood Youth Group, yeah, it's a long word.
It's a long word.
It is long. We've abbreviated it HWYG.
I think the abbreviation is harder to say than the actual word is.
Well, basically, it started after the riots in Birmingham.
Okay.
Because what we found out is that there were people actually, including places like Handsworth Wood, who actually participated in the riots. And we thought, what can we do to actually, help them? And we realised that there was a lot of youngsters locally who, didn't have much to do. So we thought, let's do some activities whereby we can get them involved. So just something basic. So we just started off with football. We started it on a Friday because I'll come back from work on Fridays. And
hope you come back from work every day, to be fair. Alhamdulillah.
I'll actually come back from work now.
Yeah, mashallah.
I had to catch a taxi today, by the way, so you're paying for my bill. Right. First time I've caught a taxi, by the way, after years, right?
Uber.
No, it was black cab.
Alhamdulillah.
Right. Yeah, so just to let you know, obviously, by profession, I'm a solicitor by profession. I work in the courts. So we had a lot of cases coming through the courts.
So what you see is a lot of young people going through strife, and what you noticed was that in your local community that there were a lot of young people that didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And that so what did you do then? Once you got that, so you got them to do, the first activity was football. What happened after the football?
Okay, so the first thing we wanted to do is do something regular, right? So we started off with a football on a Friday, because Friday night is that kind of night where most people like to hang out, right? So we thought, okay, let's choose Friday. It's a good. The way we did it was we thought we'll come for Isha namaz.
Yeah.
All the local boys, inshallah, will meet up for Isha, and from there we'll go out and we'll play football we normally play for an hour, but we used to get extra time, and by the time we finished it was about 11 o'clock. So we've utilised that night and productively, because another issue was we've been told about is a lot of youngsters being overweight. So we thought, we can do, combine it also. So utilise their free time, help them with their exercise. And another thing was, a lot of the youngsters were saying, the board,
They have nothing to do, nobody organises anything for them.
Yeah, they say little things like, they'll say, I don't know, the local mosque or the local centres, they've closed down and they need more input. So I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to be involved in youth work, right? And that's...
So is this for all ages?
It's, actually... Yeah, why not?
It is for all ages, because Jamshed is of a mighty age as well, mashallah. Nice, young lad. Alhamdulillah, but it's for everybody. So you've done all of these activities and you've taken people go-karting for charity, and that. So explain a bit more of that, because that's quite interesting. That's quite different from just playing football, because anybody can organise, anybody within reason can organise football on a regular basis. Getting all the players there is probably a different story. But nevertheless, what you've done is something completely different, is that you took a different slant on it now, that you've done go-karting, you've done going to Snowdon, which we're going to talk about in a short while again. But you've done a few activities like that. We've been different places.
Yeah, I guess. I used to ask the youngsters, what do you guys really like? What do you want to do? What would give you that kind of buzz, right? And basically, they were saying things like, let's do paintballing, let's do go-karting. But the factor which they had was the cost. Who will arrange it? So I just, and I started to, get contacts, or get to know, I know now a minibus bus owner, so got him as a contact. I contacted like this paintball place, got a good deal from them, and food wise, even at home, I used to get like all my family, like my brother, my kids, we had actually
production
line,
mashallah.
and I got in trouble because the whole fridge was full of sandwiches for the youth, right? So my mum would say, we need to put some place for the handi roti, but and put it all together, and with paintballing and go-kart, it's something different, and the guys really enjoyed it, and we put it all together and we tried, and it worked, and they really enjoyed it, and I've been doing it.
So explain the charity part of this, because that's quite interesting. So the kids pay for their own, the young people, pay for their own tickets to go on these various different things. So the go-karting, the paintballing and all that kind of stuff, they pay for themselves to do that. But when it came to something like Snowdonia, you've got a trip planned to Snowdonia, haven't you? Yeah. At the moment.
Yeah, so inshallah, the trip is tomorrow.
Okay, mashallah.
Right? So climbing Mount Snowdon, which is the highest mountain in Wales. Inshallah, everybody's meeting up at Masjid Aisha 6:30 in the morning. We're going to have breakfast. So we've all, like I said, mashallah, over the years, the youngsters, they've started to take responsibility. So I've already got 3 brothers who have been allocated for breakfast duty tomorrow. And they're going to cater for the 50 people.
So that's 6 for them. It doesn't start at 6:30. It starts at 5:30.
Yeah, so Fajr is 5:30.
So they just start straight after Fajr.
And so they've already organised the milk, the lachi. They're going to make Pakistani tea.
Okay.
So
CEO,
I'm telling you,
the CEOs
5:30 starting, mashallah.
Right. So 6:30, we're going to have breakfast. 7 o'clock, we're going to leave. It's going to take about 3 hours to get there. I've organised a coach. And so alhamdulillah,
so basically what's happening is that you're going to Snowdon, you're climbing, you're going to get these young people to climb Mount Snowdon.
Yes.
Why?
Basically, the number one is it's summer holidays starting now. So a lot of youngsters, they're free. Some got nothing to do, and some people just want to a day out. Basically, mashallah, today the weather is nice. Inshallah, tomorrow hopefully will be good also.
With a bit of a cooler breeze.
Inshallah. And so, like I said, they've got we've got summer holidays, and also again, youngsters, they don't want to do something which is more challenging. Something they can tell their friends. Even nowadays, we're in culture of WhatsApp and Facebook. Everybody wants to say, "Oh yeah, I went mountain climbing. I climbed the highest mountain in Wales, right?" And for example, if you get one youngster, they tell their mates, and one will tell 2, and we've got a group of 11-year-olds coming now from. Although we're Handsworth Youth Group, we're reaching out to North Birmingham. So we've got guys coming from towards the Semitic border.
So these youngsters that are coming, right, so what they're going to do is that they're going to climb Mount Snowdon. Are they doing it for any reason? So they're doing it because obviously they're free and stuff.
Yes.
But you've got a charity angle on this, haven't you? So how does that work?
Basically, we're doing it for the As Suffa Homeless Project.
Okay,
right. We identified that there's a lot of good charitable work happening for people around the world, but there's issues of homelessness in our community, local community, right? And
give the example of yesterday, because you texted me last night.
Yes.
I got a text message from you, a WhatsApp message from you about 8ish.
Yes.
And where you just went and said, we both live in the same area.
Yes.
So we live within minutes walks of each other.
Right,
and you text me and you said that there's 2 people sleeping rough next to our masjid.
Yes.
So when we're talking about people going through poverty and stuff, we're actually talking about quite literally 2 individuals, a husband and a wife, were sleeping rough outside the church, which is next to Masjid Aisha. We had 2 individuals that were sleeping there yesterday night, and they've been sleeping there for a couple of nights.
Yes. I mean, a lot of people, some people think that it
doesn't exist,
or it exists only in town, or it wouldn't exist in Handsworth Wood. And the brother who told me, he made the point. He said, look, during the month of Ramadan, there were these two people, right? And, people come out of Taraweeh, they're going past, and, there's these people. And month of Ramadan is about helping others. And so the brother told me about them, and we just thought, okay, we can't, it's Isha time, what can we do? So I just thought, about how As Suffa really started the homeless project, and what they did was they just walked around with a tea flask and some biscuits. So I said, okay, let's find out what's open. And I went to Tesco's, closed. I went to Shell Petrol, closed. I go, where else can I go? Eventually I found a dessert parlour which it was open, and we got 2 coffees, right? And we went there and we gave it to them, and he made their day. They had something warm to drink, and it was nice because the brother who was with me, mashallah, young brother, he had a hat on also, and wearing Islamic clothes. It shows that Muslims are, doing something. And we've built a rapport. We've got to know the person, and inshallah today, the arrangement we've made today is that we're going to pick them up, inshallah, around about 8 o'clock, and actually take them physically to the homeless shelter in town, so they know that where to go if they need to get some food, basically.
Okay, so they're going to take them to the As Suffa Homeless Outreach project.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So these young children, these young people that you're taking to Snowdonia, right? Yeah. They're going to Snowdonia, and they've done some fundraising, haven't they, for As Suffa Homeless Outreach?
Yes. So about 6 weeks ago, like I said, it all started off by very quickly. Why I decided to choose this As Suffa Homeless was because Maulana Tariq Jamil, he came to Birmingham, I think last year, and he basically made a really valid point. He said, look, we send money abroad, but we shouldn't forget our local community. They need our support also. And based on that, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. When I first started, I thought, will I get people to come with me? Will people support it? People say, oh, homeless, it's their fault.
I think that's one of the common things, isn't it? A lot of people say that they can get support from the government, or it's their choice.
SubhanAllah.
Like, it's their choice for sleeping out. They could have stayed in the house, but they've...
We were just speaking about that when we were coming in as well, Musab. We were just talking about how how you were saying that you thought there was a lack of awareness around Birmingham, and in terms of the Midlands as well, about people that are actually homeless and that are actually suffering at this very time. So I think that from what you guys are saying is that that's very important. So how much, what are they fundraising? How much are they fundraising? So and how can people help?
Yeah, so I think it was last year when there was a big event at Coventry Road. Sheikh Zahid came, and basically on behalf of Handsworth Youth Group, basically we pledged $5,000 basically, and I thought, how am I going to do this, right? I can only do this, as if I organise something, right? And so I mentioned it to the brothers, the youngsters, and they said, they were interested, and I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. What am I good at? Okay, I like going out. Youngsters like going out, and so I just booked the coach, booked the date, and started texting.
Okay, alhamdulillah. We'll come up to our first break, inshallah. We're going to quickly finish off with Jamshed, and then we're going to carry on about how this actually meets into our topic of today, which is actually building, carrying on from Ramadan and the legacy from Ramadan, and how doing good work like this is actually continuing the legacy from Ramadan. So inshallah, we'll be back after this short break. Assalamu alaikum. We'll see you after the end of this.
93.5 Unity FM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're back here on Friday Drive here on Unity FM 93.5, the heart of the city. Alhamdulillah. We've been talking about building a legacy after Ramadan, and building upon the legacy that you've built in Ramadan as well, and continuing that throughout the month, or throughout the year rather. And we're speaking to both Mufti Liaquat from As Suffa Institute, and also to Jamshed Mohammed Jamshed about his visit to Snowdonia as part of Handsworth Ward Youth Group. Alhamdulillah, I got to say it finally and properly. So you guys are climbing, you got a group of young people that are going to be going to Snowdonia on a coach tomorrow.
Yes.
If somebody wanted to join you, do you have any spaces left?
Yeah, we got spaces in the coach, and we've also made arrangements. So if we do get overflow, that we're going to arrange some transport, inshallah, tomorrow.
This is just too good to believe. So you're saying we're going to go tomorrow morning, right? In 13 hours time, right? You're going to be praying your getting ready to go in 13 hours time, and you're saying that if we get an overflow, still I can sort the transport out.
Inshallah.
Man with the plan, mashallah. Man with the plan, definitely.
Mufti start to do dua for me.
Okay, inshallah. So if people wanted to go, they can call into the studio 01217728892, and I can give them Jamshed's details.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to Snowdon tomorrow, leaving at 6:30 from Masjid Aisha in Handsworth Wood.
Yes.
And so 6:30 tomorrow, and you want to go to Snowdon, you can still go because there's still places, spaces there. You need to call in to the studio on 01217728892, and it can give you more details, inshallah, about that. You're also going for a charitable cause, which is As Suffa Homeless Outreach project, which I should know a little bit about. So if people wanted to help that cause, is it possible, if we give them the studio number, that they can get in contact with you?
In what way?
So that they can sort out if they wanted to donate to the cause or anything like that.
Yes, of course. We've got to reach our £5,000 target, and basically, you can sponsor. There's lots of people going to sponsor me. We've set up
Okay, just giving site.
Just giving site.
Okay, mashallah.
So that's actually been set up, and you can actually go on to that. It's www.justgiving.com/homeless outreach Snowdon Trek.
Okay, so you can do that. You can just giving homeless outreach Snowdon Trek. You can check that on Google.
Yes.
However, if that was too much to remember for you, then quickly just phone into the studio, inshallah. We can pass those details on. I'll also be uploading that onto asking for that to be uploaded onto the Unity FM Facebook page, inshallah. So we'll have information on there as well. Jazakallah khair for that, Brother Jamshed. Inshallah, you are free to go, as they say. Now, alhamdulillah. Musab, when you're building legacies after Ramadan, this is the kind of thing we're talking about doing, isn't it?
Alhamdulillah, yeah, it's true. Like we were saying earlier, what is the purpose of Ramadan? The purpose of Ramadan, it goes back to becoming more God conscious, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Becoming more aware of Allah. And this kind of mindset that many of us have, which is the only way you can become more God conscious, the more we say pious, is by going to the mosque more, isn't it? Yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of us do that, but there's still a lot of things that are void in our lives, which the Prophet ﷺ used to do, Sahaba used to do, and we're not doing them. So one of the really important things after Ramadan is what can you do for your community, I would say. What can you do for your community? In other words, maybe it can be like your goal, which is by this time next year, or maybe even a month's, you can have a month's goal. That this time, end of the month, how much do I want to achieve for my community? Like, alhamdulillah, what you've mentioned. People out there, they don't know what they can do. There was one brother who was asking me about I gave a talk in a mosque, and after the talk he came to me and he said to me, you mentioned that there's so many who are poor in Birmingham and there's so many homeless, and he says, we don't see them. And he says, what can we do? Because no one's ever told me this, and I've always been sending my money here and there. So, that's something that we need to look at as well.
SubhanAllah.
That we're becoming slowly aware of homelessness, but there's also the problem of drugs out there. Maybe I have a set of skills that can help the youth, who are in a dilemma with drugs. It's not easy to get out of it. Maybe there's some bad company out there, and I've got some set of skills that maybe that can help them. There's guys out there who've got gyms, and they're attracting a lot of the youth, taking them away from the streets. So these are things I think that more than just our salat and our fasting, because the poor imam on the mimbar, he's always going on about these things, isn't he? But more than that, I think these are things which the Quran, definitely the Quran, time and time again repeats about what are you doing for your community. Ukhrijat linnas, you have been taken out for the benefit of mankind. So your salat is not for mankind, is it? Your fasting isn't for mankind. There's something more you have to do.
SubhanAllah.
So I think the biggest legacy that we need to work on is how can we become a better community. Now we're like the third generation here that have come from abroad. We have this kind of problem now that we're facing, that our parents didn't face before, which is now we're slowly beginning to become exposed to those things which earlier on we saw as taboos. So our youth are becoming exposed to drugs, they become exposed to crime, they become exposed to, especially in the areas that many of us live in. They're just fueling it all.
I think it comes down to some people may say that you can actually lead. This leads from a whole situation of having a very naive community starting point. So some people might say that because our community is very naive, in as much as that we don't see the need to have full-time organizations which are purely funded from the community, which look to solve problems like this, that pay a reasonable wage to those individuals that are actually running service. So if you've got somebody who's working with those who are on drugs, right, you get very good voluntary projects that are out there, fantastic. However, to get really in-depth support on most occasions, not all, on most occasions you need trained professionals to do this. Now, trained professionals come at a cost.
Yeah.
Now, are we as a community ready not to meet that cost, but getting there or thereabouts with that cost and saying, well, actually, you know what, we need to actually pay individuals X amount of money for their professional skills to actually deliver a service. Now, I'll give you an example. If somebody who was an expert in working in drugs rehab was on 25 grand a year in their normal job, would we as a community feel comfortable paying 23,000, 24,000 to that individual, and that money coming from the community to actually provide that service for our own community? And I think once we get to asking questions like that, and not only I, but a couple of people have said this, and some say that I think we'll be more ready to come up with a solution for our community once we get over those boundaries of actually saying, well, we need to find some longer term solutions which are embedded into our communities in long term sustained organizations that are run by our communities. It's cliche, by our communities, for our communities, and all that kind of stuff, but I genuinely mean it. I mean, we look at the issues, some of the issues that we have on our roads and stuff like that. We have drugs, we have alcohol, we have so many taboo issues as well that are just hidden, domestic violence, so on and so forth. But are we really ready as a community to actually fund organizations who are professional in delivering what they deliver, but actually paying trained professionals to deliver this service, rather than hoping that somebody will do this at the goodness of their heart? And there are lots of people who do this at the goodness of their heart. I'm not taking away from them. What I'm saying is that I think it needs to get a bit more professional. The longer we live in this community, the more people we have within the community, we're going to need more of a sustained service.
I mean, that's just to interject there. What I would say is that professional kind of approach. That's something long term we can look into. But besides that, what steps are there out there for if anyone wants to volunteer? Like, there might be some guys out there, brothers, sisters, who say, I can do things, but I don't know what to do. So, like brother, Jamshed today's mentioned what he's doing himself. I mean, he's a marvelous guy, very handsome guy, but his beauty and his his status, I don't think that isn't the thing that pushed him.
No, it's not.
What pushed him was something else he had in his heart, which I'm sure many other people are sharing in their hearts as well. And Allah just gave him the opportunity, and he's just started this work. Alhamdulillah, he's reached this far now. So maybe there can be other people in the community out there as well who can start very basic grassroots things that will later on will lead to.
I think I had a guy, one of the guests I had on before was named Shabras, and he was doing a community activist course. And one of the things that he was saying is that there's two starting points. He was saying there's only one starting point, but I kind of said I think there's another one as well. One of the starting points that he was saying was that is looking for like-minded people first and foremost, or looking at organizations that already give this kind of a service out, and looking at how you can help those organizations, or how you can learn to implement something that organization's doing here. So I'll give you an example. I've been banging on about this amazing organization in Blackburn for the last couple of weeks now, called the Abu Hanifa Foundation in Blackburn, which is absolutely awesome. They've won an FA award for the best community football association. They teach Islam to children as well. They use iPads and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of quite modern, and they're quite good at what they do from what I hear. Start looking at what organizations like that do and learning their lessons and bringing that over. The second way to start, so you can look for like-minded people, look for organizations that are already doing this. The second way to start is what you've done, Jamshed, and you explained it. When I was talking about it, I was thinking to myself, this just sounds like crazy on air, but alhamdulillah, it makes sense in as much as you actually broke down a task. You said, I want to take the kids to Snowdonia. How do I take young people to Snowdonia? Well, I need a coach. Yep. And it starts off with that. I need a coach. I need young people to come. I need permission from their parents. I need forms signed from their parents. I need them to bring the right equipment. Right. Once I got the coach there and I sorted out all those things, I can take people to Snowdonia. I've got the the right ratios, the right age groups, and all that. Making sure we tick all the legalities, which obviously, as a solicitor, I'm sure you're doing as well, mashallah. Making sure you got the right things in place. You learn those things, though. You learn about those things, and you essentially booked a coach, got young people to come on the coach, made sure all those boxes were ticked, and inshallah, you're going tomorrow. So I think there's that.
So I think it's organic.
There's that almost like the street word is the rago approach, where you just almost do it. You just do it like the homeless project.
I mean, one thing I possibly, I go training.
Oh yes.
I was actually supposed to go training today, but
I can see. It's just
But so you see, when I started the training, it's been about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys that go to gyms and all that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a typical stereotype, isn't it? That people have in their mind. They're like this, they're like that. But when you mix with them, you realize that some of these guys are really amazing guys. They got so much potential. They got so much ability. And they the problem is they have this stereotype as well about who you are. So, can we approach this sheikh? Can we talk to him about our personal issues? They have that big problem. Once you're sparring with them, they're asking you questions which they'll never imagine asking you another time. But it's a that community I mean, you don't have to I don't think you have to have this approach has to be formal. It can be very informal as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and hire a coach. You don't have to do these things. Maybe you can just join in with a project that's going on at the moment. Homeless project. There's a homeless project where you mix with people, you see them. So what I was saying is that this is also one of the approaches that you can have as well. You mix with people, and this, if you have the right intention, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, innamal a'malu binniyat is not just for your fasting. Yeah, you don't just make your intention by night and the daytime you get the reward for it. Innamal a'mal it's a mindset. It's a whole life. It's a life process. You make your intention, and Allah builds from that intention, and He rewards you so much. And even if you are able to complete whatever you're trying to do, because of that intention, whoever does take it on and carries it on, you get all the reward for it, or you get a dividend from the reward for it.
SubhanAllah.
So I think after Ramadan's finished now, we seriously need to think. We need to definitely become more sophisticated, like you were saying. We want community activities, but are we willing to really support them financially, or even not even financially? There's a lot of people who are willing to support financially, but are we physically going to take ourselves and volunteer for those activities as well? So we need to think about that, and also we need to think about Ramadan's finished now. That spiritual boost has gone. What can we do now to start maybe becoming more closer towards our religion? And learning the religion, understanding it. These are steps that we need to take. And a lot of places now, after Ramadan, they have institutes at As Suffa. We have the Alim course that's starting as well. And these are opportunities for us out there to, become better people as well, through knowledge, through learning. It's only through education. I went to Scotland, and when you see over there, you can see what the Romans have done, and where there's the Hadrian's Wall, and then you have other places, you see the big difference between what the Romans brought over. Yeah, they brought over education, they brought over technology, they brought over a whole society. They brought over. It wasn't just them coming over. And then you see what was there before, and it was so simplistic. There's this big difference between them. So likewise with the Islam, we can't be too simplistic in our approach in learning the religion.
It's about finding the balance.
Yeah. But education is key. I think, at the core of every, you want unity, you need education. Islamic education, as well as with other education. You want to work in your community, you need education. Without the education, you might cause harm. So learning the correct things as well. How to become more efficient, you need education.
SubhanAllah. I think it's very, very true in respect of actually going out there, and actually then you got time now. Ramadan's finished. You got all of that out of the way now. Now you've got time to focus on your next year. People always say there's two things that people always say. They say, I want to learn more, and the classic one, and I use this excuse as well, I don't have the time to learn. And I think with the way that technology works at the moment, there's always a course available from people of knowledge who have the right credentials to teach knowledge, to actually access at any given time.
Yeah.
I think that there's internet courses for those who are free, busy during the daytime and work. There are evening courses for those who are for those who are busy during the day. Sorry, there's daytime courses for those who are busy in the evening, and you've got a good mix for those who have got children. There's courses that are now tailored for women, especially as well, that are tailored around school times, where somebody can come in and learn, from like 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then carry on with their daily business. Obviously, there's an element of sacrifice.
Definitely.
There's an element of sacrifice. You might not get to watch EastEnders, or you might not get to watch as much TV, or you might have to, sacrifice on your family time a little bit. But you don't get anything without sacrifice.
And that's another thing, which is, as Muslims, we need to have the mindset of compromising our own comforts for something which is better. And it's that kind of out there. What is better for me to do? What should I prioritize? Should I prioritize sitting at home on the sofa? Should I prioritize my friends? Should I prioritize? At different times you have different things, but at this time in your life, what do you need to prioritize? Like Umar radiallahu anhu, he said a good thing. He said, "Ta'allamu qabla an tusawwadu." Learn knowledge before you become leaders. And there's two interpretations of that, what he meant by that. One is, when you become a leader, you're not going to get time. Yeah, so once you become a leader, it's difficult for you to go and step out and say, right, I need to learn all this knowledge now. Right, give me that knowledge, because you don't have time. And the other interpretation I think is very interesting, which is when you become a leader, you need to have qualifications to become a leader. So don't put yourself in a position of leadership and you don't qualify for it, because then you'll probably be causing more harm for other people, your subjects. So that's very important. And again, there's many courses out there. I mean, I was reading on Facebook, and free courses are out there now. If we can't pay for it, there's a lot of places online doing it free. There's some that are doing it online. There's some that are doing it there. You can sit on site as well. So there's all sorts of things out there for.
I think we've got a caller joining us. Inshallah, we're going to put the caller on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, brother?
Alhamdulillah. Is that brother Jamshed?
No, Jamshed is here as well in the studio with us, mashallah.
This brother Nazim, brother Jamshed. Brother, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Nazim. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah for your donation. I'm waiting for it.
Inshallah. Hopefully when you complete the walk tomorrow, inshallah.
Inshallah. How are you, brother? How can we help, brother?
I'm just ringing up to wish him well for tomorrow, inshallah. I think it's a great project, great idea, and I'm glad we could be a part of supporting it, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Wish all the brothers success tomorrow, inshallah.
Ameen.
Jazakallah for your support.
Jazakallah for your call, brother, inshallah. Look forward to you calling in soon again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
I think what is brother amazing, because that also brings another issue, which is, if you can't do something, support it.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, there's an ayah in the Quran that Allah mentions about the battles and Allah says that قاتلوا في سبيل أو ادفعوا. So fight. If you can participate in the battle, then the Sahaba were told, go participate. If you can't, just support. And our teacher said an interesting thing here. He said, when we studied this, he said, as a Muslim, we always have a duty to uphold the truth and good, whether it's we're doing it physically, or whether we just make up the numbers. We're there just for the numbers. Even that is something which is rewarding, and that's something which, instead of sometimes you have certain individuals who might say, this particular organisation isn't good because of this, so they start picking mistakes. That's fine. I mean, no one's perfect. If you can't support that, support something which is them. Show us an alternative. Or if you can't do it, you just support it, stand up for it, speak about it, tell people. So these are, I think, it's about legacy of Ramadan. But truly, what deeply I believe is that as a Muslim, we've come to this critical point now where we're seeing that our praying salat only and our reading Quran and doing our zikr, is it making us better Muslims? You're getting reward, inshallah, definitely. But in the community, is it making us better Muslim?
So I put that question. That was a question you asked in Ramadan. We were asking. I think we were driving back from one of the shows, and we asked that question. I asked it to my family as well. I actually put it on a group that the family's on, and I asked them, and I said, does reading Quran, although it's rewardable, does reading Quran and not understanding it make you a better Muslim? Period. And it made me think a lot as well. It makes you better at recitation. But if you don't understand the recitation, then just makes you better at recitation, which is reward for. I'm not saying there's no reward for that, but it just doesn't make you any better at the end of the month.
And it's that kind of, right, as a Muslim, there must be more I can do in my community. Yeah, because if you look at it, if you look at the attributes that Allah mentions about the believers in the Quran, a lot of them are humanitarian efforts.
SubhanAllah. Just
grassroots efforts. Yeah, munfiqina, the ones who spend. As-sabirina, the ones who are patient with their community, with the people, like difficulties in life. Al-mustaghfirina bil-ashar, those who ask for repentance, forgiveness. So it's I think it's very important for us to reflect on that. Maybe through this, people will be listening. Allah inspires anyone. Sometimes you hear a talk, you get inspired, and maybe later on you think about things what you can do in your community as well.
So I think what we're saying from this, Musab, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're saying that what you can do after Ramadan is that you can do a number of different things. You can go out and learn, first and foremost. Try to improve yourself, your understanding of the religion, which in turn improves, inshallah, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Definitely.
The second thing you can do is that you can possibly go out there and plug a gap in your community. So if your community has a gap somewhere, that you're there to try to plug the gap. So if you see a problem with young people, then you're trying to be part of the solution rather than just being part of the problem, which is blaming each other for whatever it is that's taking place. And trying to be part of the solution and looking for other people who can help you with that solution as well, and being positive role models for people. So you can do those two things in addition to the things that you've picked up in Ramadan as well. So if you picked up recitation, carrying on the recitation of Quran, but looking to develop that now and looking to actually take that to the next level, because Ramadan's gone now. All we can do from Ramadan is build on what we did in Ramadan, or try to make ourselves better Muslims. I think if we almost could do a campaign next Ramadan almost and say, well, before Ramadan, is that what are the things that will make you a better Muslim by the end of Ramadan, and trying to do those
maybe
things.
What is a good Muslim?
SubhanAllah.
Someone who stands as close to the Imam. Is he a good Muslim? Someone who, what is it? Interestingly, a man, he actually came to Imam Malik rahimahullah, and he said to him that, you narrate all these things in a hadith, and he's very famous, and he said, but I've never seen you, perform many hajjs. I've never seen you perform any umrah. I've never seen you do so much nafal. All I see you all day in the mosque teaching. So Imam Malik said something interesting. He said just as Allah sustains people, physically with their food, He sustains them with their actions as well. So you get some people out there who are more inclined towards studying, more inclined towards community effort, more inclined towards helping their family, their relatives. There's people who are inclined. So there doesn't have to be one organization out there. There doesn't have to be one effort out there. There's so much out there. It's your inclination. You're inclined towards being able to. Not everyone can book a coach, trust me. Not everyone can get all these people, but alhamdulillah, Allah's giving that tawfiq. Now inshallah, through that effort that you made, that intention that you made, anyone who benefits from that, anyone's inspired from that, Brother Jamshed is going to get a dividend of that reward.
I just want to say basically that we all can make a contribution. We should never think that our contribution is less or meaningless, right? Like you said, if you be part of a cause, right? I'll give you an example, like during Ramadan with the homeless project. I took my granddad, took my kids, took my brother's kids, and it's now the main thing is now after Ramadan we should now set a timetable. So say to ourselves, okay, if you can't do it weekly, monthly, put in a date in your diary. I'm going to go to this place to help out, or it could be anything else, right? So I think the message I would like to tell people is that don't think that that you can't do it. Everybody's got skills, and your skills are valuable.
Alhamdulillah. We come to the last minute of this hour, inshallah. We'll continue in the second hour as well. What we've been over in this last hour is building a legacy from Ramadan, and what we've spoken about is literally, it can be summed up in a few words. Do something. Don't do nothing. Doing nothing isn't an option. Do something, and do something of benefit either to yourself, which will in turn be in benefit to the community, or in benefit for the benefit of the community. So we're saying do one or two things, right? But do something. And I think that's the message we're giving. You could be, and we've got I've got the two archetypal guests in front of me. One, inshallah, in terms of learning knowledge, and one in terms of doing something with the young people and looking at the issue within the community and dealing with that. And alhamdulillah, I think that kind of balances out really, really well. So if there's listeners that are there listening and want to do something, then what they need to do is
maybe even something that they're doing, they can contribute.
Yeah,
and we can share it on the radio.
No, inshallah, definitely. If you'd like to call in, please do call in at 01217728892. We're going to be back after these short messages, inshallah, where we're going to be discussing a few other things, and a couple of other guests will be joining me.